And good evening everyone, time for this week's silver update. You are looking at a chart, 1 hour chart of silver. We have opened up in Asia, not a lot of action. As you can see, we are above the cup that we last pointed out, and we're in a new high area, and we're testing support, new support that is around 36.75 roughly. So we're looking for the next move. You can see our latest trend line, and I like to measure these trend lines by what the rate of increase is, and you can do that. It's real easy. You just pick a day and then match where the trend line is. It's easiest when you pick a day where it's exactly at a point, such as here's February 28th, and we're exactly at $31. So we'll find a place where we're exactly at another point, which is, that's 31.50. So let's go up to 30. What do we have there? 32.50. Right there we have 33. So at the 12th from the 28th, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, and our price went up from 31 to 33. So $2 every 9 days, or $1 every week. $1 a week, $4 a month. That's the kind of pace we're on here. Nice pace. It's hard to keep up. Sometimes you'll spike up and go higher, parabolic, or you'll drop through, level off. But if we continue this pace, you can see it's a pretty brisk pace. We're talking about $1 a week. That's what, $50 a year? That would put us a year from now at $87 roughly. So it's quite a pace to keep up. As you can see, the MACD is kind of reloading. I've drawn a line at the tops. You can see we did a top here and a top here. Kind of a top there, but not really. We're reloading, looking for another top. So we may go lower, we may do a test of this trend line and get one of these and then spike back up, or we may just go higher and try to establish a new trend line, something like starting here. So we'll just have to wait and see if that establishes itself. Wanted to point out a couple of points. A lot of people have mentioned a number of topics. One is, well, there's a gentleman by the name of Mathman who posts on Zero Hedge, who's a big silver shill, and I'm going to get to him later, but people like him and others have pointed out how silver is in a bubble, it's run too far, etc. A lot of critics say that. Of course, strictly fundamentals aside, because if you know the fundamentals, then silver is not even ridiculously, it is absurdly underpriced at 37. In fact, below triple digits, silver is absurdly underpriced if you know the supply-demand situation. But I just wanted to show you a chart here of, this is a chart of RIMM. I don't know if you're familiar with RIMM. It is the maker of the BlackBerry. They had a big run-up in the 2000 tech bubble. I actually shorted this stock. I think I made a little bit of money on it, but not as much as I thought. And I really thought it was overhyped. I never really liked it. But as you can see, it had a tremendous crash. And this is adjusted for splits. It was up in the hundreds back then. But it had a tremendous crash and then the run-up that you see. Now this is a good example of what A profitable company. It turned out to be a profitable company. A lot of people like their Blackberries. A lot of people pay a lot of money for them. Now it's fallen off recently, but there's just a couple points I wanted to make with this chart. First of all, if you look at the low prices, you can't really see them on this one, but if I pull it up on Yahoo, you can see this is the low was 1.4, 1.5, 1.4. The high here is 1.47, whatever, 147. This is roughly a 100 to 1 run. So anyone who invested here at the low and sold here at the high would have made 100 times their money. Every 10,000 invested in this would be $1 million. Every 1,000 would be 100,000. So quite a return. Now this is just one company. This return was achieved in roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 years, 6 years. That type of return was achieved. I started buying silver when it was around 5, actually below 5. Was buying in the late 90s, but the big run started in 2000. Let's just call 5 the equivalent bottom. And it's now, that was roughly the summer of 2003, so come up this summer we're going to be about 8 years later. That's a run from 5 to say 35. That's a 700% gain, as opposed to this is a 10,000% gain on RIMM over the course of 5.5 years, while over 8 years we're looking at a 700% gain. So the point being that these types of returns are not unheard of. This would project, if silver followed the same course, there's no reason why it can't. The fundamentals are actually much stronger than the fundamentals for RIMM ever were, but if silver followed the same course, we're talking about $500 an ounce. As we have 5 in the bottom, we'll go about to 500 on the top. Now, another thing that's interesting about that is if you look at where we are now, because everybody talks about parabolic runs and how they always crash. You can see a parabolic run here, and it did crash. And you had a parabolic run here, a little bit, and a fall down. Big parabolic run here and a crash. Another recovery and then a big crash. But let's look and see where we are. So we're trading roughly at 60, and we are in, although most people won't agree or admit, we're in a depression right now, although it's masked by government spending. The stock is still trading around 60, and we were at a bottom about 1.5. So that is a 20-fold move. Actually 40, I'm sorry. 40 times 1.5 is 60. So even after a parabolic crash and recovery, you can see we never went back. Here's your parabolic. People here would say, well, it'll never be that high again. Well, that's not true. In fact, it is twice that high at a stable price. So things can resolve higher than a parabolic crash. And this is a move that is, as I said, 40-fold from this low. So 40 times 5 for silver would be $200. That would be silver running to 500 and crashing and stabilizing at 200. So all of the silver bashers would still be dead wrong even after we had crashed. So a couple points I just want to make by pulling up this chart. Now let's go to this person I was referring to, and I wanted to read a person who's replying back to Mathman, who's a typical silver shill, and he's kind of just distracts the thread, and it goes way off into la land of everybody trying to discredit him. But basically, this guy, who has a bunch of anecdotal information, apparently was there at the time. I just wanted to read this to you because he's so amazing in the stuff he points out. Anyway, He says, this is Confucius 222, he's replying to Math Man saying that silver's in a bubble. He says, well, Math Man, if your mission was to come out and tell people that silver is in a bubble and it's going to crash, then great. Thanks for the heads up. Now, let me share a tidbit with you. There is only one best reflector of photons known to man. That is silver. There is only one best conductor of electrons known to man. That is silver also. Are electrons and photons likely to play a role in technology over the next 20 years? I think so. I also think there is less physical silver above ground than there is gold. I think there are several reasons for that. One of those reasons is that after the discovery of the Comstock lode, now I've mentioned the Comstock lode before. As an aside here, the Comstock lode, for those of you who don't know, was a tremendous silver deposit discovered in Nevada. And it brought so much silver. That's where your big collection of Morgan dollars, Carson City, Morgan dollars, bags and bags that the government ended up buying up. It kind of really threw the silver-gold ratio out of whack. So fascinating. Go and look up the Comstock lode in Wikipedia and read about it. And I think it was Virginia City, Nevada, and the boomtown that grew up there. It's a fascinating historical read. But anyway, the Comstock lode. This country was awash with spare billions of ounces of silver. Over time, they have been used up. In time, the Hunt brothers became aware of the growing, dwindling stockpiles and attempted to corner the market. Now, not everyone in the world could have worked in Manhattan at the World Trade Center in close proximity to the Board of Governors of the COMEX, but I did. Not everyone in the world has traded on the floor of the COMEX at the World Trade Center. It's not there anymore, but I have. I witnessed firsthand how the Board of Governors, to a man, got short silver in their own personal accounts. I witnessed how there came to be a day when the chairman of the Board of Governors would have had a margin call that he could not meet if silver closed higher the following day. Guess what? The rules changed on the COMEX that evening. Longs needed 100% margin, cash only. The Hunts began to drown in a sea of red ink as the price collapsed. Now, this was a learning event for some. Some folks at Bear Stearns and other fine firms learned they were held in high esteem by the Fed for their part in restoring some confidence in the dollar and breaking the backs and balls of the Hunts. They also learned that there was a fine way to make money in the market by shaking the tree from time to time and collaborating with others in that regard. As time went by, some individuals became emboldened, some became more corrupt, some became rich. Now, today, J.P. Morgan does the Fed's bidding. They are now short more silver than exists in the world. Their game, however, is not secretly, I'm not sure what he meant there, anymore. Others are becoming emboldened. The ones holding physical, for example. They are emboldened because they know that there is only a tiny amount of silver left from a century ago. They know that at the rate it is being consumed and saved and hoarded, the price can only go up. They also know that if nothing else, the many trillions of dollars in unpayable debt, like a millstone around the neck of the value of the dollar, will mean each year will have an increase in the value of all PMs for the foreseeable future expressed in dollars. That is not a bubble to me. It may be a distressing thing to you or your employer, who knows. Perhaps you've come here to warn us, educate us, or mess with our heads, who knows. Personally, I think anybody in their right mind will get as much physical silver as they can while the getting is good. Personally, I think you're jealous. Well, that's a fantastic reply. That is apparently from someone who was there watching all the members of the COMEX shorting against the Hunts and nearly getting wiped out and having to change the rules. And I'm going to read some more from Jesse Livermore in the future. There's an excellent story where Jesse Livermore teaches us about the unforeseeable and the unforeseen. And the same sort of thing happened to him, and we'll see how he dealt with it and what he did. But I just wanted to read that because it's a fantastic insight by a person who was there. And he does recommend getting as much as you can when you can. Now, I always like to do I like to cover for people who are still buying, and yes, I think you still should be buying. Maybe a couple ounces here or a couple ounces there, but just keep buying. It may dip, but the point is to keep stacking. As many have said recently, it doesn't matter what price you have, it matters how many ounces you have. So I just wanted to cover what we're seeing at Gainesville because there's some interesting things coming out. Now, we still have American Silver Eagles 2011 monster boxes. You can get them here for $20.50. That's $41 a coin. Not bad. That's $5 above spot, so that's a premium, but that's still around what premiums are going for. They've got the rolls, they've got the numismatics, they've got some bars, and of course we've got our PCGS and NGC numismatics. We've got some Buffalo rounds. They have those, and you can get those as cheap as $38.50 with a bank wire. And we continue through the Eagles. Now, here's something interesting. I've been recommending the boxes of koalas and the boxes of kookaburras. They don't have any more tigers or any of the others. They're getting awfully thin. Now look here. Shipping April 18th. It's the 27th of March. So we're getting a little bit of a lag time here with the Perth products. Shipping April 18th. So we've really only got just the koalas and the kookaburras, and then we get down to our individual ones here. They all say they're shipping the 18th. We've got the Year of the Mouse. Now I wanted to get to one that I really like here. It's actually not Perth, and it's going to be on the next page. And I'm actually going to grab some of these. Not a lot, because I did my last buying back at 25, and I kind of backed up the truck at 25, so I don't have a lot of spare cash. Here's some Philharmonics. Now look here, they're out of stock. They do have monster boxes of the Maple Leafs, but look at this, shipping April 15th. Now I've never seen Gainesville backed up. All the Canadian ones. Now here's a nice one. I sure like this one. Look at this. We've got the Canadian Grizzly, and it says the mint is sold out. So I may pick up a few of these just to have them. Beautiful coin, beautiful coin. And those are $43 each. And I wanted to show you the one I really like down here at the very bottom. This is called the Silver Fiji, and this is actually from the New Zealand Mint. Now it's, of course, part of the Anglo-American Empire, so it has the Queen, just like Canada and Australia and England. But look at this coin. What a beautiful coin. It's got this turtle on it, and I think I can get a bigger picture here. So that's a beautiful coin. And I'm going to pick up a few of these, I think. $41.28, $40 with the bank wire. Doesn't look like they're available in rolls, but I think you're not going to lose if you buy that one. And I don't see the Wolf series. I think they do still have them on APMEX, but they've got this new Grizzly, and that's a beautiful coin as well. So that's a little bit more, but I think that when they stop making these, and I don't think that time is too far off, the premiums will just simply explode. I think these coins will, all the numismatic value will be so much higher than silver all the way up until maybe we're in the thousands. Then it's going to be irrelevant. But on the way up, especially for people who like to trade in and out, and I don't do that, but if you do, the ones that have the premiums, they can be a interesting way to play that. The ones that I picked up, the Tigers, for $30 when silver was $25, they're now going for $60. So I could actually sell all those and buy back in, but I just not really interested. Just trying to stack and want to have nice coins. So that's the selection. Even at these high prices, the supplies seem to be getting tighter. It doesn't seem that these high prices are taking up the supply. Looks like we're seeing some weakness now in the tick. So we're running between 37.5 and 37. We'll see where we go this week. I'm predicting still the next move will be to $40 on to $50. And we'll talk to you next time.